Hi everyone, welcome to the comparative study of GenAI from different providers like Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, Meta, etc. So let me share my screen to start with, where we started and sec. I'm not able to share. Jimmy, any reason? I thought I was sharing. Jamie, are you able to see my screen?
No.
Am I sharing?
No.
It looks like
No.
sharing is not. Share screen. Now it is on. Okay. Got it. Okay. So I'm sharing the entire screen and I'll start with the presentation now. So let's go with where we were. So we started with this. Are you able to see the meetup
Yes.
models
Yes.
comparing GenAI, Google versus OpenAI?
Yes.
So when we started at that time, I was more thinking that I will just do Google's Gemini versus OpenAI. So we took a shot at the model, which we call it as engine, because when you drive the car, you can steer the way you want with your steering wheel, but the engine is engine. So you have to use the engine to feed more fuel to speed up, or you can put a brake, or you can put an accelerator, those kind of things. So the model, usually the model is the engine. So we started with OpenAI having a engine, and that's based on transformation. So you have a model which can do transformation, whatever you give as input data, usually text, but may include graph, voice, video, etc. And that you apply, you give it to a function, and we call y equal to function of x. So x is your input. So x is the feature set, which can be multiple features, and when you feed to that, you want the output, and the output is provided through the engine, which you ask the engine to do. Like in our case of car, we said car engine is the one. So this model is nothing but large language model. So LLM, what we call, is the engine, and that engine uh, gen for generating, for that to help uh, the example output we want, could be a classification, could be a regression, could be a clustering, could be any other features used to predict something. So it could be a prediction. So when you are looking for a prediction or inference or whatever results of search, etc., based on the input, the model supports that to get you the output. And so model output in GenAI, we were only to deal with the text. So we are still continuing with the text, but you do have other possibilities. That is why it is called multimodal. That is, you can have modes: text mode, graph mode, voice mode, video mode, etc. So whole idea behind is comparing the generative AIs, that is, whatever you can generate out of the existing foundation models being available in industry from different players. So at that time, we were only thinking that we'll do Google and OpenAI. Looking back, 2 recordings we have done and one I missed. So therefore, I am going to repeat what was done, a bit of done last time, and that has to do with something called Copilot. So the engine which Microsoft uses in the Copilot is the uh, front end, you can call it, or it's like a chat GPT, generative pre-trained transformer, right? GPT stands for generative pre-trained transformer. So the transformer engine which is there, that's OpenAI. So Copilot also is based on OpenAI engine. So large language model, which is uh, behind the Microsoft Copilot, is nothing but OpenAI only, or you can say GPT 4.0, O for Omni. So it is GPT 4.0 which is being used as the underlying engine by Copilot. Copilot is like an assistant. In the case of OpenAI, we call assistant, so it assists you in getting things done. So this is a Copilot. So you can get Copilot for Microsoft 360 Office. You can get Copilot for many other things, including service. That is, they have something called Great Plain Dynamics, which does the service and customer service, customer service as well as customer support. So you have co-pilots for different varieties. Just to give you example, let us. So I had asked co-pilot some questions previously. How about supporting GKE? So I want to know whether can I use Visual Studio along with Copilot, because there is a Copilot available for Visual Studio for coding. Same way there is a Copilot available for the service management, support management based on the Dynamics G, which Microsoft has long been using. Like Salesforce.com, they have got a product called Dynamics, which is Great Plain Dynamics. Using that, you can do service and all and support. So Salesforce automation, similarly, you can do sales automation using the Dynamics or whatever they have got for the sales and support model. So Copilot is nothing but helping get the best using AI models from various products Microsoft has. You can have Copilot like Office 360 or 365, whatever it's called. That's to do with the uh, like example, Copilot for education, Copilot for Microsoft 365, correct? So 365 is nothing but your Microsoft products, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, whatnots, all those which is bundled as a Office productivity software. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 is available, and that is available for education institutes also at some discounted rates and all that. So these are all licensing issues, but there is always going to be uh, Microsoft term will always be used in terms of AI. They will say Copilot, Copilot for Microsoft 365, Copilot for Microsoft Sales, for service, and these are all available now. Microsoft has already provided this in February 24. So it's almost like 6 months you are seeing that Microsoft has product lines in the Copilot series. You also see Copilot Access in Education example here, what they are doing for helping students to learn, etc. So this is all what we have from Copilot. Now the question is, what is that Copilot does which is different from others? Okay, others in the sense OpenAI, right? So OpenAI generally what we have seen is it's available uh, from its open source version is already outdated. It can only predict anything that was current up to September 21, 19, 2019, 2021. So for last 2 years, it has been moving around into different uh, areas. And so OpenAI, if you remember, uh, I'll just give you a glimpse of OpenAI, what we had done. OpenAI platform can be installed using Python on different environments, and that environment can be, you can have your own environment options. So you can use the Python environment, you can use uh, various other environments like Unix and Mac OS, Windows, and whatever. So, uh, so these are some of usually Python environment over any of this Windows, Mac OS are can be done. But then uh, the difference is how do you run it? Like here, OpenAI env scripts activate. Similarly, you have to do. So basically, you have run a Python environment. Virtual VNV is nothing but virtual environment for Python 3.5, probably 3.5, 3.8 in that range. And then you use the OpenAI environment. You and then go ahead and install the Python libraries, API keys. So what happens is any generative AI model, to use that model, you have to have, as I said last time, previous to previous time also, token. So to get the token, when you talk about tokens, then tokens is nothing but sequence. If you have a word, a sentence, then it has got words. So word, there is a first word, second word, nth word. So there are sequence of words. Now token is nothing but it breaks the words into uh, uh, pieces which it can uh, absorb, and based on the sequencing it can provide some kind of a response to it. So basic assumption is you feed a text as input to the engine, and this is you are doing through a user interface, and the user interface is chat gpt for the or you chat with your engine or chat with your large language model. So when you chat with your large language model, you feed some text, and that text, because models, once they were free, it was easy. You could do anything up to chat GPT 3.5 and 3.5 turbo. Then the cost of building this becomes expensive. So Sam Altman, who is the what you call the CEO of OpenAI, he decided at that time to work with Microsoft, which was willing to pay for, and then they at that time. So of course, the payment means the license term comes. License means how do you charge? So when you how do you charge, then you have to tokenize. So the words that are input are tokenized. Generally, in every model, the token may be different. So in 4.0 and all, they take four words. Sorry, the word, one token is equal to approximately four. Uh, so what we can do is we can look at the tokenizer. You can say text generation, and I think I can go into concepts and give you. We had done this concept long back, but just to revise, there are text generation models, which is Chat GPT 3, 4, 4.5, 4.0, assistant, which assists in the instruction that are embedded within the context. So assists in context. Embeddings are nothing but your numbers, which is a vector, which is you whatever inputs you give, you can vectorize them, and the input as well as output of the embedding can be embedded in vectors. And instead of using a database, you use vectors in memory database, like using vectors. Tokens are the ones which is we have seen the tokenized tool, and I'll go to the tokenized tool. Here is the tokenized tool. I say, so you enter the text into token and see what is tokenization. Let me just ask question, and then, oh sorry, it didn't enter there. I'm sorry, what happened? I thought I had entered something. No, it didn't take. Ah, okay. Let me see legacy. Does it not take? Okay. So this is the tokenizer, and this is the token tool. So I clear and enter text. No, it is not entering. So maybe something, okay, let me just say, let me, yeah, yeah, here it is. So I say, how many words make a token? Okay, so I'm just throwing something at it, and it is saying that this is 7 tokens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what it has done is there are 29 characters in this, if you count, and it has divided into 7 tokens. How many words make a token question mark? So you can see it has assumed a space between every word. Of course, here the words itself is 5. In general, a token is a approximately 4, and then you can see that as a rule of thumb, one token generally corresponds to 4 characters. But here it is 5 also. So it is possible to have 4 or 5 characters, whatever. And this is for common English test. The translation is roughly 3/4 of the word. So 100 tokens is equal to 75 words. So 29 token, 7 token, here 7 tokens out of 29 words. 7 fours are 28, right? So that's the approximation. So what it means is the number of words you have. Suppose we have now, in this case, we have got 29 characters and 7 tokens. So what they are saying is if you have 75 words, you have approximately 100 tokens. So in this case, we have got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 7 words, right? And or whatever the number of words we have, it is approx. So 100 tokens. If you write 75 words on English in English, that will be approximately 100 tokens. So when you pay for a API or for the text-based inputs, it is charged for based on the tokens. So if you are allowed, if you are going to use, let's say, for a input and output, max token is limit is there. In the case of GPT 3.5, it was 808K, or we call it 8192. So there is a limit. Same way, the other models also, other engines. Example, we were talking about uh, what do you call the Copilot. Microsoft Copilot is obviously based on GPT 4.0. You can look at GPT 4. You can look at various GPT. So the GPT 4.40, which is for Omni, is the one which it is based on. There is one more new version, GPT 4.0 Mini, which is what uh, is being proposed, or it's in the pipeline, and that will reduce the cost further. So the better the version, lower the cost, higher the speed. That's the way it is going on. It's like cost, uh, it's like cheaper, faster, usual philosophy. So don't think that if you are getting GPT 3.5, it is free. Therefore, first thing is it doesn't go beyond 21 September. September 21, 20, uh, 2021, 2021. So if you want something current, then you have to use new ones. So since the development is so fast moving, the pace of the OpenAI models is fast moving, and foundational model, then domain specific models, and so many models are there. So the engine keeps on evolving. So the tokenization changes. Certain token with certain price points are different. So therefore, there is always the latest the better. And how they monetize, that is their job, but we have to be cautious of the fact that either you use API or whether you use token, the price to pay is for a given model is different across different platforms. So normally we have to use OpenAI because that was the earliest one, And so generative AI, generally we tend to compare with OpenAI, anything. So the Microsoft is nothing. OpenAI example, you can ask, how do I, we can even ask questions, and it's a question answer, like how do I compare what you call OpenAI uh, Copilot. Of course, OpenAI is the base, so we should not. We say Chat GPT, and then what you call the Copilot, and then you already we have seen Gemma or Gemini. Gemini, you can use Gemini. Gemini is the commercial version. Gemma is the what you call the research version. Same way, you can also add. I don't know Bing. Why should we compare? We compare with Lambert, Llama. Okay, Llama. I don't know Llama two. Just okay. Just say enter. So what it can? We are asking uh, it. How do you compare? And it is answering now. So you can see comparing these technologies, who has developed what and what are the various use cases. At least it has given some outputs it's giving, and we can look at this four. So at least we know that these four models and the summary it is giving. So you can look at the summary itself and then make sense out of it. So what it says is that ChatGPT best for versatile text generation and creating creative tasks. Copilot ideal for developers needing coding assistance with IDEs, like example Visual Studio. And then Gemini, great for reliable information and educational purposes. Uh, and then Llama, strong research and development with one open weight models. So you can see that there are comparison, and you can look at individuals also. Like Chat GPT is a can be using models, different models. GPT, that is generative pre-trained transformers, 3.5, 4 or 4.0 or 4 Omni we call it. Uh, then strengths. Versatile in generating tests, answers, questions, creative writing. So it can do a lot of things, and we had seen the use cases earlier, like grammar checking. You can do writing, you can do uh, embedding stories, etc., etc. So it's a integrated text of image and voice. Also, it can add. GPT-4o model can allow you to do integration of text, image, voice, etc. And use cases are general purpose chatbot, content creation, coding assistance, and more. So ChatGPT is the more generic one, and that's the most earliest one. But commercial ones are getting better. Example, Copilot. It is integrated with GitHub. So uh, there are one called the Hugging Face and other called Kaggle. These two are the places where all of these providers of the OpenAI models release, and you can go there and use that. But you have to sign. If you are using Copilot, you have to sign the agreement with Microsoft. So it is. So there is a difference between both the OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Copilot use something called as transformation models, right? That is pre-trained models, GPT. Whereas if you look at Gemini, Gemini is mix of experience. They call MOE. So its model is based on Google's Bard, and it says other proprietary models. Of course, they have their own model, but it doesn't mean that OpenAI everything is open. Name is OpenAI, but definitely there are a lot of licensing issues and which have cropped up. It is no more open. It is as good as any other um, providers engine, because you need to pay for it, license for it. Plus, you can't develop your own without having specific licensing terms and all. So Gemini is like similar thing, but it is Microsoft based and it has got a lot of educational content, and therefore a lot of people prefer using Gemini for their because they can use the Google ecosystem, etc., etc. So information retrieval, education purpose, chatbot functions. Llama similarly is Meta, which is formerly Facebook, as you know, Meta's model, and Llama 1, Llama 2, Llama 3, Llama 2, Llama 3. Llama 3 is the latest one, 8 billion parameters it uses. Same way, Google has got Gemma, which is Gemma 8, 8 billion parameters. So you can have the parameters are not 1, 2, but millions and billions, okay, even trillions to certain extent. The bigger models like Gemini and same way Copilot, GPT 4.0, 4.0, and the various other models, they tend to be very high parameters because the more the parameters, more the knowledge. That's the assumption, of course, but you can always filter it, and there is a what you call trade-off between the size and domain specific. If you want to do something like coding, then coding specific. So Llama code version is good for coding and research and development, and it's a open one. Llama is Meta's open version, and we'll see. So obviously each one has their own plus and minus. Since our goal was to compare various um, models and the engines, that is the large language models, as well as their use cases, and how they are better in sense of usage. So let's come to again, uh, we had looked at the text generation, assistant, embedding, tokens, and all that. So that clarifies some of the concepts. Then let me look at platform example. If you look at any platform, they will always have a request response. So example, you can do coding, and generally the codings are Pythonish. So let's look from Python point of view. So you got from OpenAI, import OpenAI. So this is the library you are importing, and then you are saying my client is equal to OpenAI. So every of these uh, engines have their own client. So you can use. So there are two ways to deal with the engine. One is prompt, which is called as input. You just input on the chatbot. The chatbot interface which are provided by the engines are the executions. You just on the runtime, you just input your text on the user interface called prompt with tokens, and prompts can be adjusted. You can always instruct it to say that I want the output limited to 100 character, 1000 character, or 1000 lines, because you don't want to exceed the input token plus output response. Input whatever you feed as input, which it converts into token, plus the output which it generates, the sum of that cannot exceed certain max tokens. So if the max token is 8192, that is the limit. Usually now, Lambda example, Llama has gone to 128K. So some of them are 64K. So when I say K means 1024, that's what I mean. So you can have sizes, input plus output limited, and therefore you must have to do some uh, prompting, or otherwise the output will be cut, or it will not return and it will give you an incomplete result. So, or it will give you chopped result. So it is better to tell it in advance, assist, because AI doesn't mean that it automatically understands. You are guiding it through prompt. That means what? The intelligence comes from it's it's a machine. You are making it learn through your inputs, and it's already pre-trained models. It is trying to answer you. So as much clarity you give in your prompt, the better. So there is something called prompt engineering, Jobs are available these days for prompt engineering, whose job is to ask right questions and understand what the AI model can deliver to you and adjust the inputs, adjust the outputs, adjust the embeddings. So all that is controlled way of how to get the output from that, that's the prompt engineering. So you can develop the request response model using the code, like here it is showing. So that is called using API. Prompt engineering is you just prompt and text inputs and you get the output. But in the case of you want to programmatically do it, then you do using the APIs. So the APIs are available under OpenAI, and which you can import and then call the completion. So this is called chat completion or completion. So client, whatever the client you have, client will have a completion request. You can completion and create. So when you request something, it will respond back with completion. So this is called chat completions request. So completion is the name of the game. That means what you ask and it will respond. So this is whole own full cycle, and that is completion. So you have a message which you send, and the message can be a user, it can be a system. System is what you want, and user is what you want to get. System is the context. That is, if you ask the engine what you are asking, that's so there is a roles, user role, content role, context, etc., etc. So there are roles which are predefined. It's not like I am inventing something. Each model has their own roles, and then that's what you specify. Like in the case of Llama example, if you're Llama, they have got different, they have got a IPython or some role, which is nothing but tools role. So you can have different roles for uh, Meta, Llama, and whereas, so if you look at Meta, let me just getting the models Meta, let's say. So what does it say? Just to check what I said, here is what it is. Meta has got Llama as the model, and you can download it, and it can be used. It's available in Hugging Faces, as I said, Hugging Face. That is another way to look at it. It has got models. You can go to Hugging Face and use it. Similarly, it is available on Kaggle. Kaggle is again, it has got different. So you can see Snowflake is another one of those independent. Databricks and Snowflake. Databricks was the one which threw what we call open source model to start with. And then there are many. Snowflake is based on the SQL. So when you input as a language. And what language? It can be text, it can be any of the uh, languages, like it could be Hindi, it could be Telugu, it could be Gujarati, Tamil, whatever. So you can give inputs in the language, natural language, and it can respond back. Whereas Snowflake is a typical one. What it does is you you send a text and it will convert to SQL, and it will answer based on the SQL from the databases, which could be vector database, where the responses are all summarized and accumulated. So it depends on what models you are using and what are the various uh, roles that can be played. So example, if I say Llama 3.1, then it will give me what it does. So it can have tokens. So a token has a begin text, end text. In between, you can put whatever headers and whatever. And there are roles. So these are the supported roles. So why did I say that system role? System sets the context for interaction with the engine or AI model or LLM. So when I say LLM, engine, uh, execution, all these mean the same thing. They mean the overall model which is running. An instance of that model is running, and you are trying to get the set the context. So you set the context by talking or chatting to that, saying, hey, I am looking for this, I want to do this. Now you answer me this. So you are already setting the expectation what you are going to feed in and uh, what is that input that you want to give and what is the system. Typically, I want to get um, how do I learn Python, right? So you are setting that I'm a student. So your system context is I'm a student, and then you are saying now I want to learn Python. Done. Now you ask for the inputs. So basically, prompt engineering is very important. You use the system roles, the user role, then IPython. A new role included in Llama 3.0 specifically means tools. This role, so IPython is nothing but one of the um, versions of Python which is running on. Usually we use Microsoft product or Windows like machine, but IPython can be used anywhere under Jupyter Notebook. So what it means is if you are going to have something from tool, so I say, hey, I have my Fibonacci or whatever my prime number generation routine available here. Why don't you pull that from the tool? So then that means you are referring to the tool in the message. So message is marked as IPython, which means tools. So it will get something from the tools. So system, user, IPython, assistant. So if a system uh, see represents the response generated by AML based on context provided by system, IPython, user. So normally what happens is you don't need an assistant, you just do with system and user and most of the answers you get. But when you want to do like retrieval augmented generation, RAG or what they call those, then you need an input. So that could be an input file based on the output. So whatever you get in the output, you want to further conversation. Normally, when we talk about a engine, they are stateless. What it means? It means that if I tell you now, hey, give me this, and then I ask something, it will forget what it was told. So every one shot independent answer it gives. So it is stateless. But if you want the extension of the state, that means you have to have a sequence of conversation and just continue on the same context. That is why you have to establish the context. So it doesn't become stateless, it becomes stateful because now you are saying that previously I asked this, previously asked this. So make sure that you keep track of me, what I'm asking and answer. So it becomes stateful. Stateless is only one shot, you get what you get. And the second question may not be related to it, will start fresh. And that means you are wasting the computational power. So therefore, you should always have some system state set. Now, that state can also be run by assistant. So assistants are nothing but kind of a extra thing which sit inside the engine and then try to help you answer, get the answers. So these are the roles, system supported, that means the engine supported roles are model supported roles, LLM supported roles are system, user, IPython, and assistant. Whereas if you go to OpenAI, this will be different. OpenAI has got a different roles it supports. So that's why you should know what kind of. So if I look at, I think I'll go into concepts. You can see here assistant here, right? So in the assistant API, you can see that you can have assistants run, can use a use. So assistant has got its own, it's a purpose built model and it costs the tools, right? So it, so the models which you see, we have seen GPT 4.0, 3.0 and all that, right? So these are models. Whereas if you look at, one sec, so if you look at the what you call the models, code interpreter, yeah, function calling. So what I meant was the roles. The idea behind what I came here was to say that you have several roles, so different models support different roles. So in the concept, we were talking about concept, and in the concept, I went into assistant, saying what roles are uh, there, right? So, example, prompt engineering, which I was talking about, these are what the guidelines are. Give model time to think, use external tools, test change systematically. Tactics are there. When you write, you tell it what you are doing, so it can give you. So here you can see the roles, system and user, right? The system messages, so messages what you send are either system messages or user messages, or it can be something different, user and system. Besides that, it can be assistant. So example, answer is a consistent answer in a consistent style, like provide examples, providing general. So that means what you can tell system, hey, this is what is the, I saw the river uh, go into some valley and did something, so something similar. So basically you can teach, you are asking, user is asking, teach me about patience, and then assistant, it says that river that carves the deepest valley flows from a modest sprinkling. The grandest symphony origins from single note. The most intricate tapestry begins with solitary thread. So basically, it is assisting, saying that these are the uh, so to you want to, so these are providing general instruction that apply examples more. So when you give an example how this is done here, tell me now about this. So you can use that assistant to come to some conclusion. So I think this may be a little bit difficult to grasp unless you try it on your own. But simplicity is the best. If you keep the questions and prompts and tactics simple, you will get better answers. So at this time, what I want to do is, the idea when we started in this uh, was to make sure you are seeing the screen, right? So model input text, model output based on whatever your hyperparameters or whatever your setup as features, and by engaging with the model, it is able to answer. Now, other than model, if you want something, then you have to give input. So we have seen now comparison between different what you call engines or large language models. Example, the chat GPT, the Copilot, the Gemini, Gemma, Llama, etc. And everybody has a different purpose in life, and they do the way they do because that's their goal. So you can get any model on the Hugging Face or Kaggle, but you have to sign with the provider, and there are many platform available. The important thing to know is every every model has a specific um, what you call advantage, and you can leverage the advantage of different. So, for example, for the Microsoft, it supports .NET libraries. So there is a .NET library 18 or something, I believe. So you can use different libraries. The packaging is different. So when you want Microsoft to use on Azure, then there is a different uh, what you call coding baseline, and generally the Microsoft product lines are all based on the npm, that is packaging, that is you get the packaging using JavaScript, and so it's called npm. And similarly you got for the Linux platforms, they may be using their own what do you call, they are using their own what do you call packaging, which is could be a Red Hat packaging, could be Ubuntu packaging, and so on. This based on the distributions there. Windows similarly has its own .NET. So everybody has their own package management, and so package management differ. The client library, uh, of course, if it is a OpenAI based, that is for library for .NET. It could be, for example, if you go by example, I'm giving you something odd out of the way. There is a AI called Hanuman.ai. So there is something called Bharat GPT, which is a GPT for Indian languages, Indic languages. So you have Hanuman.ai, and that is Bharat GPT. So there are GPTs infinity. You can use whatever you want. Like I asked, what is Bharat GPT, and it ends Bharat GPT is a advanced language model developed by Hanuman AI. It is designed to provide conversational AI capabilities for the Indian context, supporting multiple languages and catering to diverse user needs. As Hanuman AI assistant, I am a part of broader Hanuman AI ecosystem that includes Bharat Chat GPT. While I share the same underlying architecture and principle, I am trained to assist users with wide range of tasks and provide information across various domains. So you can see the plenty of varieties are there. So there is also one more from Ola. It's called what do you call, not Prakriti, but uh, some such thing name. So there are definitely plenty of what do you call models, and it's a question of which one you want to use and why you want to use. And there may be, like example, as I told you about the uh, Hanuman, which is more for the Indian languages, Hanuman.ai, and this is out of IIT Bombay, I believe. There is one more commercial Ola folks who also have a another of the another of the AIs, and those are based on different. So it's called Ola Krutrim. So if you, do you, I'll ask it, do you know what is Ola Krutrim, right? Ola Krutrim. Okay. And then let's see what does it say. So it is responding. Let's see what it does. Okay. I asked whether you know Bhashini or specific language. So it told that Bhashini they are not using. Okay. I know. Okay, it doesn't have any information about Ola Krutrim. That's okay. But all I'll say is Ola Krutrim dot Ola Krutrim dot com. I mean, let's see whether it's able to understand what I am saying. Okay, valid as okay. It says I think it cannot understand the Ola Krutrim. That's fine. Ola Krutrim. Krutrim. Did I spell it wrongly? Yeah, I did spell it wrongly. So I had to say Ola Krutrim dot Ola Krutrim dot com. Yeah. Okay. No problem. It doesn't know, it doesn't matter. So what I'll say is I can put it here. Example, I can say Ola Krutrim.com. Maybe it is a AI. So you got chat.olakrutrim. Okay. So why I did this is because it's available. I'm not going to accept or deny anything. So there is a Krutrim. right? Kritrim Beta is run by Ola India. I think Ola is a they manage the transportation like Uber in US, RDD in China. So what it means is these are the various uh, available models. So there are plenty of available models. So what I would say is at this time I will almost at the end of the session, you can see that we have reviewed just to go back and complete the we had said we want to compare GenAI, Google versus OpenAI, and we compared these various AIs in not only these two, but others, including the Copilot from Microsoft, Llama from Meta. Then we also saw some of the Indian versions like the uh, Bharat uh, Bharat AI, Bharat ChatGPT types, and also the Ola Krutrim. So you can see that we had occasion to look at, including the Gemma or the research version of the Gemini, Google AI engine. So basically, we have covered the gamut. And as a summary, I would like to say thank everyone for uh, attending, and then hope you will be able to leverage the knowledge about the text generation in different models and different areas for different use cases. And with that, I will come to an end and close on this. And before I stop, Jamie, do you have any questions on this?
No, nothing, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
let me stop the recording. Looks like I'm not able to stop the recording. I will end the call and we'll get in touch later. Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone, for attending, and I'll close the call. Bye.